Today on Reese Dixon, we are decking out some homes for the birds. Hi everybody, it's Teresa with ReeseDixon.com. Today I am going to be dressing up some birdhouses to make my backyard look fabulous while welcoming to my little nature friends. I went to my craft store and they had a ton of these birdhouses. They were raw wood, and so I went and got a head start by painting them already. I just used spray paint to give them a solid color, and then because I wanted kind of a funky mottled effect, I took contrasting colors of spray paint and just kind of misted so that it would give this like spattered effect. I think it's going to look really great once I get the tiles on, which is the step that we're going to pick up right now. So I went to my hardware store and I got a piece of Mosaic tile. This was like $3 or something, and it comes 12 by 12, and it's made so that, oops, see, it's got this like netting on the back so that if you were using this to make a kitchen backsplash or something, you don't have to lay each individual tile. You can just slap this whole thing up there. But I am going to be laying each individual tile. I just find that this is a really economical way to buy these little tiles to use for mosaics. So for my smaller pieces, I've got this same setup, but I'm just gonna pop that right off the netting. And then I will use this to mosaic the roof of my birdhouses. So since this is going to be outside, I'm going to do my mosaic a little bit differently than I would if it wasn't going to be exposed to the elements. Instead of using a glue that you would regularly use with tile, I'm going to be using this silicone, and it's what's often used to like waterproof a tub or seal a window or something like that. It's made to withstand the elements. And so even though it's not technically a glue, as it dries, it's kind of this rubber, cementy kind of thing, and it will hold up to the changes in the temperature and to moisture way better than any other kind of glue you could use. So I'm just going to get started putting my tiles on the roof in some kind of a configuration that looks good to me using this silicone. And then once that's dry, we'll come back and grout. But let me show you one other thing. Like on these roofs where they're flat, it's going to be really easy to use square tiles. But this one is octagonal, and so some of these areas get pretty tiny. So when you're choosing your birdhouses, you can just make it easy on yourself and go for straightforward shapes, or you can use some tile snippers and just snip your tile into pieces like that so that you can get it to the size you want to fit that little section. If you have some plates lying around, you can also just try hitting them with a hammer and shattering them and getting all kinds of cool random pieces. And in those random pieces, you'll probably have some that would be small enough to fit these little areas. So I'm just gonna have a little fun mosaic day and start tiling these roofs. And then when that has a minute to dry, the silicone dries really fast. So once you get it on there, give it half an hour, and then we'll come back and apply the grout. I let all of my mosaic glue, the silicone we've been using, it's all good and dry, and I'm really pleased with how the tiling patterns have all worked out. So now it's time to grout. I've mixed up my grout already. You just want to follow the instructions on the packaging. So you just want to mix it all up until it's like a smooth, creamy paste, like a little bit thicker than cake batter. I left mine a little on the runny side, but you just want a really smooth mix. And then it's just like you're frosting a cake. Remember, mine's a little runnier than it should be, but it'll set up as you're working with it because you only really have 15 minutes to work with your grout. And I've got 3 houses to do, so it might work out for me that I made it a little runny. But I'm just gonna spread this, we'll dribble it right on top and get it in all those nooks and crannies. And then once it's in all of those little spaces, I'm gonna come back and scrape off as much extra as I can and then just let it dry for a while. This will take a little while to get dry, so don't worry too much about getting it too clean. I'll show you a trick after that. We just want to get it into all those little spaces. I've got a little bowl of water here and a sponge, and you want your sponge to be completely wrung out. You don't want this dripping, because even when the grout appears dry, until it's cured, which means having at least 24 hours to dry thoroughly, then you can wash it all away. So you don't want to get so hung up on getting it clean that you wash away all your grout. So for the first step, after you've applied it, you've scraped off the extra, give it a good half an hour, 45 minutes to get a little more dry, and then you're going to come back with your very lightly damp sponge and just start to wipe away. You just want to get, like, see that big goop right there? You want to get the big goopy section off, but you're never going to get your tiles fully clean, because the second you go over the grout lines, it's going to just wipe more of that mist on top. So like I said, don't get carried away trying to get it clean at this stage. We just want the big goopy chunks off. So that's good. And I see one little spot right there I want to get clean. And we're going to call that good. So I'm going to let that dry for another 20 minutes or so. And that's when I'm going to come back with the trick I told you about. This is a chunk I cut off of one of those pool noodles that you get in the summertime, but any kind of foam will really work. Even a dry cloth will work in a pinch, but I really like the grit, the little tooth on these. So once this dries thoroughly and it's got that film on it, I'm going to come back with this and just kind of rub, and that will get the film off. Here are my finished birdhouses, and I think they turned out so adorable. Way better than just those boring old raw wood ones you start with at the craft store. Now these look like something you would find at a home store for major money. And it was so easy to do. I love doing mosaics. They're so rewarding to me, and they're so much easier than you think. You just have to take your time with it and go through each of the steps to really get a beautiful finished project. So I hope that this was inspiring, that you'll give it a try, bring a little pop of color to your backyard, and maybe I'll even attract some birds with this. We'll see. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment and I will help you out. Subscribe to the channel for lots more big ideas, and please help me out by sharing these videos wherever you can. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.